So there are a lot of Metallica fanboys out there, but did you know that Metallica are fanboys themselves? Because my God, if they cover one more Diamond Head song, I'm going to lose my mind. So in 98, after putting out two of the most controversial albums in metal ever, they decided to go back to their roots and cover some songs just like they did in the old days. That, of course, would become Garage Inc., as pictured here. And, well, honestly, I think Metallica is really good at covering songs. They don't cover the best songs all the time, as we'll talk about a few of them here shortly. But, yeah, as far as the album itself, it's covers. What do you expect? Your enjoyment on it, I think, depends entirely on the original songs themselves and how you think Metallica does at covering them. A lot of times they like to put their own spin on it, but other times they leave it pretty much the same. Other times they combine songs or do whole medleys. I don't know. They have a really good way of taking these songs and pretty much making them as if they wrote it themselves, which I think is very important. Like a lot of covers where they just try to copy the exact same formula and it sounds the exact same thing. Nothing's different. It's kind of like watching the remake of Psycho. What's the point? Yeah, it may sound better, but let's be real. More often than not, the originals are just a lot better. So the way Metallica does it, I think, is a very nice touch. Trivium, my favorite band of all time, they covered Master of Puppets and it's the exact same song, no differences. I'm like, why does this need to exist? On the flip-flop, you have a band like Machine Head who covers Message in a Bottle, and it's very different. I strongly suggest you go check that one out. I really like it. And of course, they just did the Blacklist where a shitload of artists covered a bunch of songs off the Black album. Ghost did Enter Sandman, which is a fantastic cover. I love that one. But that's enough about other bands. Let's talk about Metallica's covers. Let's talk about Garage Inc., Disc 1, we'll get to Disc 2 later in the week. So, here we go. Let's kick off my track ranking of all these 11 songs. And without a doubt, in last place is Free Speech for the Dumb. This is a very dumb song. Not even little fanboy Metallica me liked this song. I deleted this shit right off my library because it is one riff. It's not even that good of a riff. And he just sings the title of the track, nothing else. It's like 2 minutes. Why did they cover this one? I have no idea, but it is by far the worst song on this entire compilation of songs. And moving on is another song I do not like at all, which is Lover Man. I, again, don't know why they covered this one. They never even tried to play this one live. This was like a one and done thing. It's kind of like Mama Said, where, I don't think this song is inherently awful, but it is a bad song to cover for Metallica. Another one of these songs that I straight up deleted off my library, even all those years ago. And unfortunately, this next one is also another one I deleted because next up is The More I See. Really bad opener and closer to this album, and funny enough, this is by the same band, Discharge. So, if Discharge is anything like these two songs, I sure hope no one gives me them for one of my Rank Your albums because I can pretty much guarantee it's going on the bottom. And the only reason this is even above Loverman is because at least the main riff is actually kind of heavy and cool. That's a fun riff, but again, that's the whole song. So I really don't understand the point of ever even touching this song. Okay, those are the three bad ones. Never listening to those again. These next few I think are just kind of okay that I can listen to, but I really never go out of my way to go to it. And that first one is going to be Tuesday's Gone. Now, this is it's a live performance with many guest artists, many of whom I didn't even know who the hell they were the first time I heard it. But now that I've heard a lot of bands and albums, I can recognize, Les Claypool's on it, that's pretty cool. Jerry and Sean from Alice in Chains are on this, that's pretty cool. They got the, up until a few days ago, the only surviving Lynyrd Skynyrd member on here, Gary, his last name. But yeah, it's a big old ensemble just playing this song, although this is really not one of my favorite Lynyrd Skynyrd songs. I just think it's kind of too long. It's 9 minutes. And as far as a 9-minute Lynyrd Skynyrd song goes, Freebird has it beat pretty hard. But yeah, it's okay. Followed by the next song, It's Electric, the latest Diamond Head song they covered, and honestly probably my least favorite of them. Funny enough, if you didn't know, Diamond Head actually, after Metallica covered about half their discography, they finally covered a Metallica song, which was No Remorse. So it's cool that they picked something off the first album. So go check it out if you haven't heard it. Also, speaking if you haven't heard it, actually for the first time, only like a couple weeks ago, I finally heard all the original songs, like off both these albums. I mean, I've heard a couple of them in the past, obviously Turn the Page, Stone Cold Crazy, Am I Evil, So What. I've heard a couple of these songs like originally, but I actually went through and listened to everything. And let me tell you, there's some big differences in a couple of these songs. I really recommend you check out all the originals. If you have Spotify, a bunch of people made playlists, although be careful because some of them, they don't even include the right version of Astronomy. Some of them don't even have like Breadfan on there. I don't know. A lot of them are janky, but it's worth a listen. Anyway, It's Electric. It's fine. There's nothing great in it. There's nothing bad in it. It's just one of those that it sounds good, but not one of my favorites. And speaking of, next up is Sabracadabra. Now, once again, not one of my favorites. Even when I heard the original on, what was it, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, I think it's on. Not one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs, so not one of my favorite covers on here. But it is pretty decent. It's pretty catchy. It's like these two are the okay ones, I'd say, Sabra and Electric, where I could listen to them, but I can also not. But yeah, these next few, like the top half of this list, good-ass songs. And kicking that off is going to be the magnum opus, crazy-ass medley with Merciful Fate. A combination of 5 different songs, and I haven't heard all 5 of these songs, but and honestly, Merciful Fate is not one of my favorites. Honestly, King Diamond's vocals get kind of annoying after a while, so not one of my favorite bands, but this medley is very well done. They did it again later with Dio songs. I don't think it's nearly as good as this one, though, but still pretty solid. And number 4 is going to be Die, Die, My Darling. Now, along with Diamond Head, they did cover a lot of Misfits as well. And this one, pretty solid. I really love the die, like when they fucking keep hitting that one note. And I don't know, it's a very catchy song. It's pretty dark lyrically, which I think is pretty fun. I mean, I guess Misfits do a lot of really dark lyrical songs because on disc 2, there's one that's a lot worse than this one. And I especially just love the way the song ends when he's like, Naya. I think it's pretty fun. But yeah, good-ass stuff. Good-ass song. And next up, the bronze medal goes to Whiskey in the Jar. Now, if you guys didn't know, there's a channel on YouTube called I Make Videos on YouTube where he lists like the most played songs from like bottom to top on Spotify. And on the Metallica one, not only is Whiskey in the Jar by far the most played song on Garage Inc., but it's even number 6 on their most played songs. Out of everything. Number fucking 6. I think that's crazy. I don't know why this one is so popular, but hey, I guess this is what the people like. But yeah, these next 2 songs, these are like the big ones, I think, on this album. Like, they're really famous covers. Whiskey in the Jar is absolutely a great one. It's just a good old big jam, and, this is like a traditional song, so there's not really one to compare it to, although I think they directly were inspired by the Thin Lizzy version. I guess it worked out for them, but I kind of would have liked a Metallica-ized version of the song where it's like more heavy and not like copying someone else's cover, but like just doing their own version of it. I think that would have been pretty cool. But what we have, still a really good song. And speaking of really good songs, this one, my top two can be flip-flopped, but they're just really damn good. And number two is going to be Turn the Page. Now, yeah, this is another really, really great cover by them. Great song to begin with, even the original Bob Seger. Like, it's a really good song. And when you have an original, really damn good song, and you have a really good cover of that song, yeah, just the way he sings it and just the way everyone performs on it, really, really stellar stuff. But man, my number one is definitely not the popular one on this album, but I have loved it since the moment I heard it. And like Loverman, they have also never played it live, which I think is a travesty. But of course, the only one left is Blue Oyster Cult's Astronomy. Man, I might be biased because the first time I heard it, this was when I actually wanted to be an astronomer growing up because space is cool. But yeah, the mood of this song is so great. I love the clean guitars and the way Lars is riding the hi-hat, hits those kicks, and then that harmony, and then the hey fucking part, and then especially when you get to like the last minute and a half of the song, when it builds up and it explodes in the astronomy thing. Holy shit. I absolutely love this song. And while Turn the Page is a damn good song of its own, I just think Astronomy is just much more my style. So that's why it's my favorite song off disc one. Maybe off both of them, but at least disc one, definitely. So yeah, let me know what your favorite covers are on this album, and tune in Wednesday when we take a look at the second disc with even more songs on it. And again, I think there's even better songs on the second disc than this one. But still, I really like at least these top or four songs on this album. So yeah, I'll see you Wednesday with more Garage, no pun because it's the same album.